Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you again for being here. Our discussion today is on managing stress during the holidays. As a diabetic, I know how difficult it can be during the holidays when you have all of these decadent foods that are being offered and served, and we are trying our very best to stay within our dietary restrictions, manage blood sugars, manage blood pressure, cholesterol levels. There's so many different things that we, on a daily basis, are working to take control of that can come out of control during the holidays. So let's go ahead and begin by discussing. Let's see what's happening here. My slides are not progressing for some reason. There we go. I apologize. The overview, the things we're going to discuss. One, the struggles of the stress during the holidays and how that stress affects the body and the brain, the causes of the holiday stress. And then we're going to give you some tips on how to manage holiday stress through healthy eating, getting plenty of rest, setting up boundaries. We're going to talk about some relaxation techniques that can help with some of that stress and anxiety. We're going to give you some tips to surviving the holiday stress, and then I'll do a recipe demonstration. For those of you who have never tried it, what I'm going to be making is a low carb enchilada dip. Sounds great, and it's really good. So let's go ahead and just jump in, okay? The holidays can be a struggle for everybody, with the shopping and the gift wrapping and the decorating and the cooking and the visiting and all of the things that occur during the holidays. It's common during the holiday season that due to pressure from financial strains, gift giving, family gatherings, it can cause anxiety, it can cause irritability, it can definitely cause fatigue, and for a lot of people, it can cause extreme stress. So, how does this stress affect the body? Well, stress triggers the body's fight or flight response, causing immediate physical reactions like increased heart rate, increased blood pressure. And for some chronic diseases, chronic stress can lead to long-term effects such as impaired memory, difficulty concentrating, and a higher risk of diseases like heart attacks, heart disease, depression, and strokes. The brain also undergoes a structural and functional change, including a reduction in the brain volume and impaired connections between the brain cells, leading to negative moods, cognition, and emotional regulations. Now, prime example. On a regular day, any day, we may have to wait in line at HEB to get checked out. But during the holidays, those lines seem to double or triple. And our patience with the person in front of us who's in the 15 or less aisle with 25 items tends to make us a tiny bit more irritated. A lot of that has to do not so much with that person or the situation. It's the stressors that we're feeling all together, trying to make it through the holidays. And when we have these changes in our brain structurally and functionally, it can cause effects on our mood, effects on our emotion, and effects on our cognition. So, what are some of the causes of the holiday stress? Well, we kind of alluded to those. Pressure to meet expectations. For many of us, the option or the opportunity is to create the perfect holiday. And you and I both know that doesn't happen. Have you ever decorated the Christmas tree? You tested the lights before you put them on the tree. You decorate the tree, you plug it in, and only half the lights work. That in itself can cause anxiety and frustration. Family dynamics. Unresolved conflicts or tensions with family members can cause a major source of stress. You know, there's always that one person in the family that knows how to push your buttons, and they tend to do so, especially during the holidays. Financial burdens, the costs that are associated with gift giving, traveling, being the host or hostess can be overwhelming. The overwhelming schedules, trying to balance social events, shopping, other duties, hosting, grocery shopping, all of those things can be overwhelming. And you just feel like you never have enough time to get it all done. And one of the things people tend to overlook is we all assume that, you know, like the song says, Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year. Well, that's not necessarily the case for everybody. The holidays can be particularly difficult for people who've lost loved ones, especially if that loss has been recent. And for some, it doesn't matter how long ago it was. The holidays are an especially emotional time for those individuals. Be sure to make space for yourself to grieve. Consider changing up your traditions to make your feelings of loss more manageable. You know, for some people, it's a loss of a loved one through death. There's divorce, there's marriage, there's distance because one of those family members that's been with you forever has now moved to another location and you're not able to travel to that location at that time. You can also find new ways to weave in new memories of your loved ones that help to make the holidays a little more bearable, like remembering some of the family traditions. So, to manage a holiday stress, some of the things we can do is create a realistic budget and schedule. We set a budget and we stick to it. If you're like I am, at the last minute, like Christmas Eve, I've always got somebody that I feel like I forgot to get a gift for. Or I'm looking at what I've got under the Christmas tree for my grandchildren, and it just doesn't seem like it's enough. And then we go out and we have these extra expenditures that we literally pay for later. So we want to create a realistic budget and schedule, and we need to stick to it. We want to prioritize our self-care through healthy eating and getting plenty of rest. We need to set boundaries. You know how it is. You know, you're the person hosting, and then you've got someone in the family that wants something special. Well, we really love your peach cobbler, or grandma's cookies are the best in the world. So you feel obligated to do these things, even though you may not have the energy, the money, or the time. So setting boundaries can be a very important factor in managing the holiday stress. Practicing relaxation techniques like deep breathing, taking time for yourself, setting aside time to enjoy activities that are also significantly stress reducing. Listening to music can help. Taking time to read a book, or just sitting down and having a nice cup of tea or hot cocoa can also be a circumstance that help you to relax. If you know that this time of year is particularly hard for you, lean on your friends and your family. Talk to them about how you're feeling and let them help you set boundaries and practice self-care. My best friend is really good about that. She'll say, "You've been working all day long. Have you stopped to eat? When have you sat down and taken a rest? It's time to take a break." And so allow your family and your friends to help you manage you. The key is to avoid stress by preparing in advance to avoid last minute things that literally get on your nerves. So you want to anticipate anything that may be unexpectedly coming up, like family conflict or that unexpected guest that shows up with 3 other people. Tips for managing the stress. Again, plan and budget. Creating a realistic budget and a master schedule can help you to overcome stress. When we talk about prioritizing self-care, we want you to stick to the healthy habits, making sure you're eating properly, getting nutritious meals, staying active, and then making sure you're getting plenty of rest. With the boundaries, we have to learn to say no. No to obligations that make you feel like you're overwhelmed, and help to get things done by delegating tasks so that it becomes possible. Take breaks. Schedule your downtime. That's very important. If you can put down a time where you're going to just stop, relax, regain your focus, you would be surprised just how well that helps to decrease your stress. You can take a walk, listen to music, practice deep breathing to help you to relax. Being mindful, focusing on the less commercial aspects of the holiday, and consider doing something for someone else, volunteering. Find more meaning in the holiday for you. Limit your social media. Beware or be aware of how social media affects you and adjust your time online as needed. For me, I can get online, go to one of the shopping websites, and I'm on there for hours. And then I've cut myself short for time that I've set up to do something else, which then adds stress. So be careful about how much time you're spending on social media. Manage your alcohol and food consumption. Be mindful of what you're taking in and avoid the unhealthy treats. Seeking support. Again, talking to friends, family, or even a professional counselor. These can all help to reduce your stress during the holidays. So, one of the biggest issues for people with diabetes is, what can I eat? You know, you go to a party during the holidays and they've got all of these rich foods, 14 different desserts, cheeses, dips, all sorts of foods. And so it's the time of year that people tend to overindulge. Knowing what to eat, what not to eat, when to eat, and how much can be very difficult. And it can cause anxiety, anger, and frustration. So, how do we know what we're eating impacts our chronic diseases? Well, one, weight management. An unhealthy diet, particularly those high in calories, processed foods, can lead to obesity and is a major risk factor for type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and some cancers. Inflammation. Diets high in added sugars and saturated fats can promote systemic inflammation, which is a root cause of chronic diseases like heart disease and type 2 diabetes. So we want to reduce that high sugar food, even though it's tempting. Foods high in sodium affect our blood pressure. Processed diet foods contribute to elevating the blood pressure, which can lead to heart attacks and strokes. Blood sugar control. We kind of touched on that a few seconds ago. But excessive intake of refined carbohydrates and added sugars lead to insulin resistance. and type 2 diabetes. And of course, insulin resistance is a condition in which there's so much sugar in the bloodstream that it destroys the ability to use the insulin that you do make. So that's a big contributor to type 2 diabetes. Our cholesterol levels. Diets high in saturated and trans fats can increase our bad cholesterol, which is our LDL, causing a rise in our cholesterol, causing a rise in our risk for heart disease. We want to prevent nutrient deficiencies. There are some people that will go straight for the desserts and skip the vegetables. A diet lacking essential vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants found in fruits and vegetables can impair body functions and increase our risk for certain chronic diseases. So all of these are factors that are impacted by what we're eating. So how do we eat healthy and still enjoy the holidays? Not like the girl in the picture. That's not what we want to do. So I'm about to give you 16 tips for a healthier holiday season. Tip number 1, do not skip meals the day of the party or the special event. By skipping the meals, that tends to cause you to overeat when you do eat. You should have a healthy breakfast before going to the dinner. You shouldn't wait all day long anticipating the dinner meal. In diabetes, the liver can make more sugar than the body needs when a person skips a meal. So what you end up doing, thinking that you're waiting for this meal so that you can carb load, the liver has released so much sugar in the bloodstream, you walk in the door to the party and you've already got a high blood sugar before you've eaten anything. Pre-plan what you're going to eat and avoid the temptation of the bad food choices. It's important to stay within your dietary recommendations, even during the holidays. Yeah, it's a little tough, but it beats being hospitalized or worse. Tip number 3, eat a light snack before the party. Don't arrive hungry. That's the number 1 reason for overeating. Make only 1 trip to the buffet. This will help to limit your portions. If you have to go back because you're not full, focus on the vegetables. Be selective and eat in moderation. Remember what a healthy plate looks like. A healthy plate is 1/2 fruits and vegetables, 1/4 your protein source, and 1/4 your carbohydrates. And there are a few things that you should remember. The first one being, for your protein, the less the feet, the better the meat. And for your carbs, if it's white, we don't bite. But if it's wheat, we can eat. Tip number 6, eat only small portions of the foods that are there. Avoid using a platter. A 10-inch plate is more appropriate than the 12-inch plate or the Lazy Susan that people take to have food at a special event. You want to skip the fried foods. Eat the fruits, the vegetables, and the proteins. Fresh fruits and vegetables contain carb-blocking fiber. As I said, the less the feet, the better the meat. So turkey is okay in moderation. Choose white meat over dark meat. Dark meat has more fat. Avoid trans fats and hydrogenated fats and oils. These are the fats that are solid at room temperature, like stick butter. Crisco, lard, coconut oil, and stick margarine. All of these are trans fats that the body does not break down, but stores as fat. And think of it this way. If it's solid at room temperature, what is it in your body? At best, semi-solid, which leads to heart attacks and strokes. The 10 high-fat foods to avoid. We just mentioned the fried foods. Yep, it's the fried chicken, the chips, the French fries. Fast foods, burgers, pizza, full dairy products. Most adults should not be consuming whole milk. Things like butter, full fat cheese, and fat yogurt. We want skim milk or no more than 2%. We want low fat cheeses, and the harder the cheese, the less fat it contains. The softer the cheese, the more fat it contains. We want to avoid poultry skin. Pull the skin off the chicken. Don't eat it, but take it off. Be careful with your red meats like lamb's liver, lamb ribs, fatty meats, ground beef of less than 90% lean. We want to avoid the processed meats, the sausages, the salted pork, bacon, hot dogs. Be careful with the desserts. We want to avoid those pastries that are made with white flour, muffins, cakes, pies, and cookies. The hydrogenated oils we've already talked about. That's the shortening. But that also includes our salad dressings. You've seen the people that build their plate up with this wonderful salad, and it's got lettuce and tomatoes and cucumbers and red onions and bell pepper, all of these very healthy things. And then they pour half a gallon of ranch dressing on it. You've just shot yourself in the foot because those dressings contain dairy, and usually it's going to be whole fat dairy, unhealthy oils, and sugars. And so you have just eliminated all of the health in your salad by drowning it in the things that you should be avoiding. Again, the foods that, or the ingredients that we want to avoid is enriched flour. Anything made with white flour is going to be high in carbs, high in starch, and we metabolize as sugar in the bloodstream immediately. We want whole wheat, whole grain, or multigrain ingredients. Again, the hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils. And of course, sugars, added sugars, and anything with high fructose corn syrup. We only want to have one roll at the dinner, and we want to leave off the margarine. Any food made with enriched flour that we just talked about, the breads, the pastas, the cakes, the cookies, the pies, even the gravies and the coatings on our meats are high in carbs, which convert 100% to sugar. We want to choose foods, like I said, that are made with whole wheat rather than enriched white flour. Stick margarine, butter, and many of the oils that we use are solid at room temperature and remain semi-solid in our bloodstream. Tip number 10, bring a low-fat, low-carb, healthy treat for everybody to try. This way, if you get to the party and there's nothing else there that fits your dietary plan, at least you know you brought something that you can eat. We want you to avoid heavy alcohol. Try a wine spritzer or a seltzer instead. Alcohol can cause a rebound effect in people with diabetes, or may even interfere with the effects of some of your medication, such as heart, cholesterol, and blood pressure meds. There are limits to what you should and shouldn't have to drink. For women, 1 drink per day. For men, 2 drinks per day. And those drinks should be no more than 4 ounces of wine or 12 ounces of beer or 1.5 ounces of spirits. That's 1 shot. And no, you can't build up and save it for the weekend. You know the old saying, well, I haven't had a beer all week, so I'm going to have a 6-pack. Doesn't work that way. So tip number 12, watch out for the high-fat cheeses, dips, and sugary desserts. Eat second helpings only of the vegetables or the salads. This will help to keep you full without greatly increasing your carb and your fat intake. Make low-fat gravy and put it on the side, not all over the food. And if you're tempted and just have to have that piece of pumpkin or apple pie, leave off the whipped cream if it's not sugar-free, and avoid the ice cream with the pie. Remember, our objective is to reduce our fat and our carb consumption. Last of our tips, you should exercise the day of the party. Even if you're not exercising the rest of the week, you need to burn some of those carbs that you've taken in. And exercise causes the muscle tissue to burn carbs for energy. So after you've had that big meal on Christmas, take a walk around the neighborhood. Run alongside the kids as they're riding their new bikes they just got from Santa. Enjoy the outdoors. If you have diabetes, you should be checking your blood sugar more frequently than normal, because these decadent and rich foods will cause elevations in the blood sugar. And by checking it more frequently, this is going to help to give you an idea of what your blood sugars are doing and when it isn't safe to eat or drink something specific. The most important thing is focusing on the good conversation, not the food on the table. Enjoy your family, your friends, and the holiday as much as you do the food. Just remember, the food that you eat can either be the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. I think that Anne Wigmore was quite incisive and quite perceptive when it comes to how we look at food. If we view food as our medicine or our poison, we become more selective in what we consume. So let's talk about relaxation. There are many different techniques to help to reduce stress. A variety of effective relaxation techniques can help to manage and reduce stress. One of those can be deep breathing. Another is progressive muscle relaxation. Meditation, yoga, and visualization can all help to reduce stress. These methods are skills that improve with practice and help to increase your awareness of your body's stress response. When you feel stressed, your body responds by releasing hormones. And some of these hormones can increase your blood pressure, raise your heart rate, and can raise your blood sugars. This is called the stress response. And each individual stress response may be different. Relaxation techniques can help the body relax, lower the blood pressure, and the heart rate. This is a relaxation response. So we have both a stress response and a relaxation response. And we want to increase or improve our relaxation response and decrease our stress response. So let's talk about these techniques a little more in detail. The deep breathing techniques. Well, one is the deep breathing where you lie down and place one hand on your stomach, inhaling slowly and deeply through your nose, feeling your stomach rise, holding that breath for a moment, then exhaling slowly through your mouth until your stomach falls. Focus on your breathing, and this can help you to calm your nervous system. There's box breathing. This is a technique that involves a cycle of inhaling while counting to 4, holding your breath for a count of 4, then exhaling for a count of 4, holding again and counting for 4. So it's inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding it, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. And then repeating. The repetition helps to focus the mind and calm the body. So you're focusing not only on your breathing, but you're counting, and that helps to relax you. There are body-based techniques as well. These techniques focus on physical sensations to relieve stress. Progressive muscle relaxation. In a comfortable position, you're going to focus on tensing one muscle group, like your toes, or as you breathe in, holding for a few seconds. As you exhale, completely relax the muscle group and notice the difference in the feeling. Move systematically through your entire body, from toes to the top of your head. This, again, will help to change the physical sensations that you have, which can help to relieve some of that tension. Yoga and Tai Chi. These practices combine physical posture, breathing exercise, and meditation to improve physical and mental well-being. Self-management or self-massage. Gently massaging tense areas like your neck, your shoulders, or your hands can help release built-up tension. And physical activity. Taking a quick walk outside, stretching, or other forms of movement can help manage stress and clear your head. It's important that we take those breaks to help to relieve some of that physical tension. Mind-based techniques. These techniques use mental focus to achieve a state of calmness. Mindful meditation. This is taking a few minutes of focus on the present moment. Acknowledge any thoughts that arise, then gently return your focus to your breathing or your surroundings without judgment. Visualization. Close your eyes and think about a relaxing scene or memory, such as a beach or a peaceful forest. Focus on the sensory details, the sounds, the smells, and the sight of that peaceful place. I call it going to my happy place. You want to, instead of dwelling on negative thoughts, we want to focus on positive thoughts. By dwelling on the negative thoughts, this is the worst thing ever. It causes us to increase our stress. So we want to try and refrain from negative thinking, and we want to be more constructive in our thinking. I've dealt with this difficult thing before, and I can do this again. We also want to use soothing techniques such as aromatherapy, using essential oils or scented candles with calming scents like lavender can aid in relaxation. Music and art therapy, engaging in creativity, listening and enjoying music can serve as a distraction and a way to process certain emotions. Practicing. When we talk about practicing these relaxation techniques, you need to be patient because relaxation techniques are skills that improve with practice. Don't let the effort become another stressor. Experiment. If one technique doesn't work for you, try another one until you find one that suits you. And last but not least, seek professional help if none of your efforts seem to be working. Talk to a healthcare professional for guidance and other options. So these are the things that we want to suggest that you try during the holidays to survive the stress of the holidays. So as I told you before, this presentation was going to be brief because we also want to be able to do a quick demo for you. But before I do the food demo, we're going to open the chat room. And if you have any questions, I would like for you to ask those now.
If you have any questions, you can post those into the chat, or you can take yourself off of mute and ask.
Do we have any questions?
No, ma'am.
No? Well, I'm going to show you this recipe before I actually do the demonstration. But just know that this recipe is going to be on the slides and available to each of you when the presentation goes out. Not only do we have this recipe available to you, on the next slide that I'll show you, you will also have the website that you can click on that will take you to our holiday recipe book. This recipe is in that book, but there are other really good low carb, low fat recipes that we've put together here at Health Texas to provide to our patients to help them eat healthier during the holidays. Okay, guys, if you'll give me a moment, I'm going to put on my apron and my gloves, and we'll get started with our cooking demo. Okay? Okay, guys, I'm going to back the camera up and I'm going to tilt it down. You're not going to see my face, of course, but you're going to see the ingredients. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay, so today we are making low carb chicken enchilada dip. It's very simple, very quick to make, and it is really, really good. So what I've done in advance is chopped up some of the ingredients that are going in our enchilada dip. Now, I decided I would cheat a little bit, and I'm mixing everything in my bowl that I'm going to put into the microwave. Our recipe calls for 2 cups of shredded rotisserie chicken. Now, I bought the rotisserie chicken at HEB, and I'm going to dice it up a little bit more simply because I think it's just in too big of chunks. Now, this container actually contains 2 cups, so I don't have to measure it out anymore. Now, the recipe actually says to use the white meat and the dark meat for more flavor. Now, for those of you who have issues with heart disease, um, or you're trying to control your carb and fat intake, if you use just the breast meat, that's okay too. So as you can probably see, let me move this over. As you can probably see, I'm cutting up our chicken into smaller pieces than what they had sent us. The other ingredients include 2 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese, and I have our mozzarella cheese here. Excuse me, I said mozzarella, and it's Monterey Jack. I don't know why I'm saying mozzarella today. Got Italian food on the mind. And so we're going to mix up our ingredients. The rest of our ingredients include 1 packet of cream cheese, which I've already cubed here to make it soft. So we're going to go ahead and add our cream cheese into our bowl. Okay. We're going to add our 2 cups of shredded Monterey Jack. This package contains 2 cups. So we're going to put the whole package in there. Our 2 cups of our Monterey Jack cheese. We're going to then add 1 can of diced green chilies. I use the mild because I'm such a wimp. I don't like a lot of spice. When it's too spicy, I can't eat it. So I use the mild, but we're going to use 1 can of the diced green chilies. I bought these at H-E-B. We're going to use the whole can. Then we're going to add in our 1 can of water. They want you to use the exact amount of water that you had the green chilies in. Guys, if you're wondering why I'm using the water from the faucet here, I have a reverse osmosis and water softener on, so the water that comes out of my faucet is the same as the water you're buying in bottles. So we're going to add our can of water. Then we're going to add in 1.5 teaspoons of ground cumin or comino. And after that, we're going to add in 3/4 of a teaspoon of white pepper. Guys, I had a really difficult time finding this, but I did find it, white pepper. Other little spoons. Okay. They want us to add in 1/2 tablespoon, and they said granulated garlic. I like minced garlic myself, so I'm using the minced garlic instead. You can use the granulated, and I'm assuming that when they say granulated, what they're meaning is the like garlic powder. Of course, you can tell this is live because I'm over here struggling to get the jar open. There we go. And we're adding in 1/2 tablespoon. Got a little bit more that time because I saw some fall in. After our garlic, and we're going to add in 1/2 teaspoon of diced onion, the green onion, and we're going to add in our fresh cilantro. So what I did was I already went ahead and cut up my green onion and my cilantro here. And we're going to add that in. Now, we're not putting the chicken in this yet. The chicken actually doesn't go in. One, the chicken is already cooked. This is the rotisserie chicken from H-E-B. We want to get as much of our own. Okay. So now that we've got all of those ingredients in, it also called for some granulated onion. And so the granulated onion, I use minced onion, and that's 1/4 teaspoon. It smells really good, guys. You can smell the comino and you can smell the onion. I wish you were here. Now, once we've got all of those ingredients, we're going to mix it and then we're going to put it in the microwave. Again, we haven't put the chicken in yet. Okay. The recipe says you should cover the microwave dish with wax paper. I use the lid on this container. That's one of the reasons I love this thing, because it serves as a great seal, and you can microwave with that. Now, our recipe indicates that we should microwave this for about 1.5 to 2 minutes on high. So while that's taking place, I'm going to finish chopping up the rest of our chicken. I don't want to make it too small because you want to be able to have some chunkiness in that. It's a dip, but you don't want it to be mushy or the chicken to be so shredded that you don't know that it's there. So you can see how I'm cutting that up. Ooh, we got a bone, guys. It's a good thing we're cutting that up. The reason we're microwaving this for about 2 minutes is to make sure that everything is melted and kind of blended together. So there's our chicken. Kind of clean up as we go here. Now the recipe says if it isn't all melted together, then you microwave it for about another minute. And mine doesn't look like it's quite there. So we're going to microwave this for another minute. Ooh, it's a good thing I got on my apron. It's getting there. Okay. I'm going to put this back in there for just a few more minutes. Okay. And then once we take that out, we're going to add the chicken in. And then we're going to heat it again with the chicken in just until the point that the concoction becomes bubbly. All of those flavors should be well mixed by then. And then, of course, this dip can be served with chips, preferably if you're going to do a tortilla chip, you would do a low carb tortilla chip. And in one of our previous cookbooks, we provided a recipe on how to make tortilla chips from the low carb flour tortillas. And what you do is you just take those tortillas, spray them with some olive oil. Well, of course, cut them in triangles if that's the shape you'd like. Spray it with some olive oil. Sprinkle on some seasoning. It can be either like chili powder, garlic powder, onion powder, comino. And if you have any dried cilantro, you can pulverize that to create a small powder. Mix those together. Add a pinch of Himalayan salt. And I say Himalayan salt because the Himalayan salt has as much sodium but has a more intense flavor than table salt. So you use less of it. So once you put that little bit of salt in that mixture, you mix the seasonings all together and you dust your tortillas with that seasoning, put it in the oven until they begin to toast on one side, turn them over, spray them with olive oil again, add seasoning and toast on that side. And they crisp up and they have a wonderful flavor. And yet you have a low carb tortilla rather than a tortilla with about 22 grams of carbs. And you could serve it with this. Ooh, this is starting to look really yummy, guys. Okay, so now that our concoction here is well mixed, and I'll try and tilt this up so you can see it. Can you guys see that? Now we're going to add the chicken in, and we're going to microwave it again until the cheese is all bubbly, which will probably take about another 2 minutes. Uh-oh. We lost a little chicken there. Throw that in. Ooh, that looks really good. So I'm going to put it back in the microwave on about 2 minutes. And while I'm microwaving this, I'm going to dice up a little bit more of the green onion and cilantro as a garnish on the dip for when it's being served. Always important to pre-wash your vegetables, even though you may think that they've been washed. I always re-wash my vegetables. A lot of people wash their vegetables with all sorts of stuff. Just be careful and be careful about not washing your vegetables because one, a lot of times they've been handled. They've been handled by someone else. And two, you want to make sure if there's any pesticides that were used when growing these or they've come in contact with another food item that they've been washed. Okay. Okay, so now we've got our onions all cut up here. We've got our cilantro that's going to go on top. I'm going to take this out of the microwave in a few seconds. Ah, no, that's cold. Guys, this looks really good. Now, if you would like this to be browned on the top, you can put it in the oven on broil for just a few moments and allow the cheese to start to brown to create a little bit of a crust. I don't particularly want a crust on mine, but I want to show you what this dip looks like. I purposely don't have it in front of the camera right now because I want to show you how pretty this looks once it's all dressed up. And guys, there you have it. Any questions on our, oh, I'm spilling it. Any questions on our recipe?
If you have any questions, you can post them in the chat or you can take yourself off of mute.
I made a mess.
No, ma'am. It doesn't look like there are any questions.
All right. Well, again, I thank you guys. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Be safe and eat healthy.
Thank you guys for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. You guys have a good holiday.